was named Offensive Rookie of the Month.
Yep.
Just how have you seen him progress in the last 4 or 5 weeks?
Yeah, just getting more comfortable. I mean, I think every bit of experience you get, is helpful. Some of the fundamentals become easier, just calling the plays and getting out of the huddle, and you just have more bandwidth for everything else that comes with playing the position. So I just think as he gets more and more experience, he'll get better and better.
Joe, how do you sift through their pass defense numbers? How do you decide what was teams in catch-up mode, what was real?
Yeah, I think, you certainly are always mindful of the statistics. But to your point, teams are falling behind, and it's forced them to throw the football more. And, defensively, you've got two opponents at that point. If you're up, you got the team you're playing, but also the clock. And so sometimes you may play a little softer. So I think a lot of those statistics are, a factor of the game script. So they're, as you watch them, you don't feel like you're watching a team that's incompetent against the pass by any stretch. So it's, obviously their run numbers speak for themselves, but when you watch the film, you don't feel it like you're watching a team that's poor against the pass. So, hopefully we can be successful in both phases, but it's going to be a battle for sure.
They used to be a heavy blitz team with Wink when he was their D coordinator. Or do they blitz not quite as often now?
Yeah, I'd probably say not as often. I mean, they still got the challenging pressures in there, and offensively, you've seen something once, you got to be prepared for it. So you still have to be, super focused on your protection plan and be ready for everything that you've seen. It just may not be coming as often, but you got to be sound when they do decide to do it.
As you played Troy and Devon a little bit more the last few weeks with Josh out, have you noticed defenses acknowledging their speed? And how much do you have to actually hit a couple of deep shots before defenses will really sort of loosen up?
Yeah, I think, defensively, I think when you talk to DBs, like they know right away who can run. They can feel that speed coming off the ball. And so, whenever you got guys that can run, it can soften the defense up a little bit. And, it certainly helps to get those throws downfield. And, you don't always complete them, but, when they're close, like there were a couple we could have hit that we didn't. But a little bit like we talked about the blitz, when they know that, it's in your arsenal, they've got to respect it. So you definitely feel that.
Coach, the tight ends were really involved in the passing game last week. How important is it to keep them involved forward?
Yeah, I think offensively you always want a defense to respect everyone you've got. And, so I think that's helpful. They've got to pay attention to those guys. I can't say that it was I don't know if any of us had, on our bingo card that they were going to have that kind of day. But, that's part of being a good offense is taking what's there and reading the defense and throwing it who's open. And, every game script's different the way the games go. And, Cortland the week before didn't have any catches, and he had a big game on. And, it's not necessarily a conscious thing like, oh, we got to get Cortland the ball. I mean, I think we're always trying to get those guys the ball, and sometimes the defense makes you do something different. So, I think the good news is that, the quarterback's able to do that and not just always throw to the first in the progression. He's able to get through and get to the guy who's, the defense is telling us to throw to. So, I think that's the way a good offense is supposed to run.
Julian McLaughlin has been so good and somewhat of a limited role. Can he continue to just do more, especially when you guys get the red zone?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's a guy that, I think, he's probably not a guy you want carrying the ball 25 times just because he's not a big guy. And so we're always mindful of that. But, as you look at a number of hits he takes in a game, he's certainly sturdy enough to take more. So, I think when you see the production he has, getting him the ball is always something that we're mindful of.
Does he surprise you sometimes? Does he surprise you sometimes to get to the pylon? Because it seems like
not anymore.
Every time.
Yeah, not anymore. But he's got that that special ability to make a play. And so when he's in space and it looks like someone's got an angle, you're very hopeful that, something good's going to happen. And he's done that repeatedly.
It feels like over the years they've been one of the more aggressive teams on fourth down. As an offensive staff, how much do you have to kind of take that into account in terms of what you guys are doing?
You mean offensively they go for it more? Yeah, I think when you're facing a team like this that has got the ability to score points, I think obviously you're watching the way the game's going, but it's a better question for Sean, but I'm sure in his mind, those decisions on fourth down will be something he's very mindful of.
Hey, BJ, what does it say being able to pick up a veteran linebacker like Quan Alexander in the middle of the season, and how has his veteran influence maybe helped out in the linebacker role?
It was a must for us. Losing Alex was obviously a big deal for us, not just the player, but the leadership. And he's brought both. He's playing good football. He's also being a leader. It's a young linebacker group overall. He's been a guy that pushed the group. He helps them study and they watch film together. So he's doing the things that Alex did for us. So it's good having him. Again, he's playing good football. He's been on winning football teams. So it's a good addition for our young guys.
Ravens having both Lamar and Derek out there.
Yeah.
How challenging is that?
It's really challenging. Obviously, this league's based on having good players, having a good scheme, but they've got playmakers everywhere. The running game obviously starts with Derrick Henry, and when you have Lamar adding 60 yards a game to that, between the scrambles and the call quarterback runs, it makes it difficult to get it stopped, and that's why they're so high as far as the numbers. Then you add Hill, who's a quick twitch, edge runner. He makes big plays all over the field. You have the jet sweeps with Flowers, and it's multiple playmakers on this offense that can make big plays. And that's the issue. It's not just a running game. They have a number of players who can make touchdowns at every position. Both tight ends are good players. Obviously, they have two receivers, they have two backs, the quarterback. So it's going to be a challenge. Obviously, Coach said a couple of days ago it's going to be our biggest challenge of the year. Obviously, but we're up for it. It's going to be fun to see where we are.
What challenges for the secondary? What challenges does it present when Lamar is spreading the ball around the way he has to multiple targets?
Yeah, first of all, he's become a really good passer. He's accurate. He's good with his eyes. He kind of moves guys with his eyes now. He is pinpoint accurate with the football, so that makes it difficult also. So it's a run-first offense, but the pass game, they're really patient, and when they call it, it's great timing, on third downs and obvious pass downs. And the concepts they're running, it's tough on man and zone. So it makes it hard. Obviously Zay Flowers is their best target, but the two tight ends, that makes it difficult because those guys can be aligned as receivers or tight ends. Now they're matched up on a safety maybe, maybe a corner, maybe a backer. So to track two tight ends along with the two receivers with the running game, that makes it difficult. So having certain calls and packages to kind of put a cap on all those guys that's our challenge this week.
You said run first.
Yeah.
Is there a stronger run first offense in this league, and how does whether that's true or not? First, does that change your points of emphasis?
Absolutely, you have to. I don't think it's anyone in the league who runs the ball as good as those guys because of Lamar. It's like Michael Vick back in the day. His offenses were always top 5 in rushing because he added 60 yards. It's Kyler Murray. He has 50 a game. So that's huge in overall numbers. So it's going to be stop the run first. The challenge with these guys is stopping the run first. You need numbers, obviously. So you're playing single high, you're playing flat zero defenses. Now the pass game activates. So that's the real challenge. And they're not a 3 wide receiver team, right? The most they're going to give you is 2 wide receivers and 2 tight ends. So they're forcing you to play running game, even on third downs. They're very good on third downs because they're short. It's 3rd and 4, where the running game's still alive. So what do you do on 3rd and 4? So that's the challenge. And, watching the season, everyone's having the same issue. When to play run, when to play pass. It's 88 tight end, it's 88 receiver. That's the challenge. But, you have to take something away, and my preference is the running game, and make him throw it. So we'll see how that works out on Sunday. But we have a plan to get both stopped, but we'll see how it comes out.
When you talk, I like Lamar. Sometimes they put a spy. You hear about spy. What are the pros and cons of having a spy on a guy like Lamar?
The positive, obviously, signs of a spy is when he does run, you can kind of track him down, right? But having the right person who can catch him, that's an issue, right? Because he's the fastest guy on the field for the most part. I think sometimes with a spy, if it's not an aggressive spy, he can sit in the pocket with a 3-man rush and just find open targets, and that's the issue with Lamar now. I think when he was a young quarterback, the spy was good because you wanted him to be a pocket passer. Now he's so accurate, that kind of works against you a little bit. So if you're going to spy a guy like that, it's got to be a push him off his spot spy. Not just linger and let him sit in the pocket and make completions, but kind of push him one way and then go grab him, spy. Almost a hunt versus a spy. But again, he's become a great passer. So the spies, non-spies, it's just hard to kind of know what's best until the game starts. So our challenge is going to be to play down for down and have an answer for the issues that as they come up, fix them quickly. That's our challenge.
Sorry about that, Coach.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're preparing for Lamar. If he hasn't practiced the past 2 days, how much does their offense change, or how much would you expect it to change if he's not able to go?
Well, he's probably going to play, but I'm not sure. I haven't seen it. The backup quarterback hadn't played a lot of football with Baltimore, so I don't know, to be honest. But I think Lamar's going to play. It's mid-season. Maybe he's a little beat up, but he's always answered the bell, so he's going to play.
We talked to Jonathan Cooper yesterday, and he said you got to be good with your eyes.
Yeah.
Is eye discipline something you're coaching, not just this week, but every week for these guys?
Absolutely every week, but this offense, again, when you have the Henry offense, which is, NFL 101, it's the powers, it's the gap scheme, just outside zones toss. That's what we see all the time. But when you add the quarterback running game to it, that's the different element, right? Now you got to be disciplined, right? Now you're playing, who has the dive, who has the quarterback, right? Who's surfing for the extra gap. And the problem with that running game is the QB carries a gap, so you have to have someone who's taking 2 gaps, right? Or adding someone to the box who can take a gap. Now you're vulnerable in the pass game. So absolutely this week, eye placement is going to be huge, but just being disciplined in our assignments versus the QB running game is going to be critical.
All right, good afternoon. Happy Halloween, everybody, and good to be back with you on the road this week against a good Ravens football team and good special teams unit. So with that, any questions you may have?
What about Delarian Turner, y'all? How has he been looking, and what are you expecting to bring to teams, perhaps, when he does return?
Yeah, he's in the process of getting back into it, so he started practicing, and so what I've seen is him running around and moving pretty good. So just that's a kind of a crawl, walk, run, and we do a good job with that as far as getting him ready to play. And what I've seen so far is going to be that same quality player that we saw last year. He was an integral part to what we were doing, and just hoping he can come back and contribute towards the second half of this year.
With Harbaugh's background, I guess, what do you expect from their special teams unit? Is it one of the ones that you look at around the league and kind of know they're going to play in a certain?
I would expect a fundamentally sound unit, which is what we see on the tape. Good at the fundamentals, blocking, tackling, and so it's a phase of the game that, as you mentioned, they put a point of emphasis on, and historically they've been very good. So, and we've had an outstanding year so far. So this will be 2 good groups going at it on Sunday.
I know we ask you this all the time, but in a big game where the margins are going to be close, I guess how much do you emphasize with the guys that have played here or play there on teams could be the difference?
Yeah, it's going to be a margin game, and if we're able to make plays like we did last week, Riley hitting another punt inside the 5, being able to down them, win that field position battle. We're going to play that complementary football that we've talked about, and that's helped us win a handful of games this year. So looking forward to guys going out there and bringing the energy and being productive and helping this football team win a game.
how proud of you are those guys being able to down it inside the 5, and like how do you coach that? How much
there's a bunch of the want to, but I think anytime as a coach or a teacher, that's what we are. Anytime that you see your student apply what you're teaching, it's really cool, and so that's something that we work on, and it's paid dividends here. Multiple times we've been able to down a team inside the 5-yard line. So if we're able to do that again this week, that can only help us win this game.